So Mocha is a planar tracker. Okay, so what does that mean? It means we track a pattern of pixels that moves through a scene. So all you do is you draw a spline around an area and Mocha tracks. For those of you who are used to using point emitter, or like point trackers and feature trackers, we don't work like that at all. So if you have a shot that's blurry or has focus blur or motion blur or whip pans or anything like that, we can track through that because we're tracking a texture, which is an entire area inside of a spline. And we can use those textures to alter our particles that we're using in this shot. Let's jump into particle illusion, and it's Valentine's Day, so we're gonna do a little cute heart on a dog. What we're doing here is we're actually using Mocha to track the scene, and we're adding particle illusion to add the shot, and I want to show you exactly how that works. So, effect controls are the same, again, if you're an Avid, Premiere, After Effects, whatever, all right? We're gonna come over here, and we're gonna type in heart. And we have a searchable library, so that makes things a lot easier. And I'm gonna pick the heart I like, this one, Heart's Tunnel. It was Heart's Tunnel, so we're going to apply this Heart's Tunnel to our shot. And we're gonna apply it actually on our first frame, because that matters. And now we're going to play our Heart's Tunnel, just like this. So we have this effect, and we have all our controls for our emitters right here under our properties. Now, a lot of times, you kind of get lost in these settings and effects, but once you tweak them, like if you decide you want this to be a different size, like 50% or 100%, you can scale that here, but you don't save them in here. You save them as part of the preset. And the reason that's awesome is because if you save your particle illusion preset as any continuum preset, like you would with any other preset inside of the continuum effects tools, you can save them in a central location where all of your artists can get to them. That means if you're working on a show and you have, these are, Actor X's heart signs for this cut. You save it in this folder, and then every artist that's working on that sequence can take those out and use them. So I'm gonna come in here to my world transform, and right here under transform, you can see that there's world plus emitter, okay? That's because I have selected, I need to track the world, and I need to track the emitter, okay? Now, once I select that, under motion tracker, you'll see a little button, and it says Mocha motion tracking. Now, because this is a plugin, if I hit the Mocha motion tracker, it will launch and it will allow me to track my object. Now, I've actually already tracked this, so I have baked this cake for you. We're gonna go ahead and pull it out of the oven completed so that you don't have to watch me track through every single frame. Okay, but I will show you how it works. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna select our world center. So here is the center of our world. It's just a little X mark, it's conveniently labeled. We have pre-labeled everything for you. And then here is our world shape that we're using to track. And we're just gonna track this planar bit of data right here. Now, why is it planar? It's planar because it's a ground plane, okay? A lot of times when people think planar, they think like a wall, a floor, whatever. No, everything is planar, guys. Think of like low poly models if you play video games or anything like that. If you don't play video games, think Picasso, okay? Everything can be broken into planes. Now, we're gonna track this, and we're also going to track the face, and then we're gonna put our little emitter offset right on his little cute, cold dog nose. Okay, so now, as we track, it's not so cute at 3 a.m., but it is cute. Now, once we have tracked our emitter, we can go ahead and save and close this. I'm gonna show you how easy this is. Because we've selected world plus emitter, because that tracking data has been tracked, now our lovely continuum particle illusion will move the particles within that fake sort of 3D, it's not really a 3D camera, guys, it's a fake 3D camera, but we've made a camera, okay, that makes it feel like it lives more in world, and now we have a emitter that tracks the dog's nose as it moves through space. And in this case, because it's a heart tunnel, it's zooming in on his face because we love him. Oh, happy Valentine's Day. Like, this is an objectively beautiful woman, okay? But what we're gonna do is we're gonna smooth her face out without turning her into the Barbie effect, which you get so often. We could also take it the other way and give her the Clint Eastwood effect, but we're not gonna do that. So we're gonna come over here and go to Beauty Studio, and we're gonna take BCC Beauty Studio, and we're gonna drag it and drop it right onto her face. I don't know if you guys ever deal with talent when you are doing your edits, but sometimes when you deal with talent when you're doing your edits, like all talent, and I feel them on this, they're like, oh, can you just do something to get rid of that? Yes, we can. So what we're gonna do is we're going to, you can use a preset. We have an effects browser. You can browse through all the presets. For Beauty Studio, I don't know that I'd really use a preset. That's really better for your color correction tools and your blurs, your whip pans, and your transitions. But for Beauty Studio, what we're going to do is we're going to go down here to our pixel chooser. I don't know if any of you guys have used the pixel chooser inside of the BCC tools, but again, Mocha is integrated into them, and that's really nice. But what's also really nice about it is it has an awesome keyer built right into it. So we can go right down here into our matte, and we can say, hey, here's the highlights of her face. Here's the lowlights of her face. Ooh, that's a little blurry. All right, so we don't actually want to make it that soft. So we're going to go in here to our master amount. We're going to take this down. But I also want to point out that we can go ahead and smooth our small details a lot, but we can keep our other details a little less blurry. So we can get rid of all the pores that we see in her face without getting rid of a lot of the details. But another thing I can do is I can come in here, and inside of my Mocha Mask Tracker, I can select Mocha Mask Track because I feel like we're getting her hair a little bit because the shadows of her face, she's a white girl and she's blonde, and again, I feel her on that. It's kind of hard to separate those skin tones. So what we're going to do is we're going to isolate her, just the areas of her face that we want to smooth. And I don't care about her lips because her lips are not really being smoothed too badly. So we're just going to come in here and I'm going to take Mocha and I'm going to just draw, just really quick, a little mask just like this. I'm going to avoid her eyes just because I want those to be as crisp as possible. And we're going to go ahead and hit track backwards. And what Mocha will do is Mocha will do the rotoscoping for me because I am lazy and I don't like to rotoscope. Okay, so I like to work smarter, not harder. Some people call that lazy. They're wrong. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this track, and I didn't bake this cake for you, so I'm just going to go ahead and not track the whole thing. We're just going to track back to the beginning, and then we're going to hit save. But I do want you to notice that it's tracking a couple of frames a second, okay? And it's doing a fairly good job of locking onto the face, even though her mouth is moving. We don't really care about that because we're following the texture of her face. So it's ignoring all of these small movements because it's following the bulk of the texture movement of her face. Notice also that there's not a lot of hard edges in this texture. We don't care. The skin on the back of your hand, that is enough detail to track. So we're going to save this and close it. And now at the beginning of my shot, you can see we're only applying to her skin and not to her eyes and her lips. Now you can also see a hard line here. How do we get rid of that? Well, we go right here into our mask. I'm sorry, I think it's matte actually. And we can add a feather right here under mask. So we can add a feather and that will blend away all of our sins. That is Beauty Studio. Like I said, you can take it actually into the opposite direction. Don't. That's a specific look. That's cowboy, probably. You know, if you're doing a Red Dead Redemption trailer, this is the one to use. There is a 3D lens flare inside of Continuum. And it's beautiful, it works really well, and it Mocha tracks. But I'm going to show you the Sapphire Lens tool because you can edit the lens in a much more granular way. It's got what we call the Lens Builder. The Lens Builder allows you to make your own 3D lens how you like, save that as a preset, save it to anywhere you want, and again, just like in the Boris tool, you can use a Mocha tracker to place it in your scene. So what we're doing here is we're doing a little track to place a emitter for our lens right here in our little glowy area where we have a waterfall or a break in the rocks. We want to capture that light and sell this shot a little bit better. Maybe we're feeling very J.J. Abrams today. So we're going to add this to it. So it ends up looking like this, and you can see there's a nice 3D movement to it. And we also, in this and in the Continuum tool, we use a matte of the shot, like a color matte, to try to mask out where any occlusions happen in the shot. So we end up with a really realistic look with not a lot of work, which again, I super appreciate. So we're going to jump in here to our effects controls, and we're going to find our lens tool real quick. Here we are, lens flare. So we've put a lens flare on this solid. You can put it on an adjustment layer if you're in Premiere. If you're in Avid, obviously you can just drop it right onto your shot. You know, there's a million ways you can do this. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, as people say. We're going to go ahead and hit Edit Lens. And what this is going to do is this is going to actually bring up a separate tool. It's going to, just like any sort of plugin, it pops right out. And you can actually come in here and you can say, okay, here's my lens. So we have our source back echo, we've got a haze around it, we've got a glow, a couple of glows, streaks, we've got fans at the sides, and you can see all of these are editable. So if we jump in here to our source streak, I can start to edit this with the size right here in my tool. I can start to edit the color if I want to, all right? And the nice thing about this is when I save this, I can save this as a new preset across the board. I can also come in here and say, hey, I think we need more of these rays, so I'm gonna add a chroma ring. Boom, here's my new chroma ring, okay? And it's right there in my shot, layered right in. Obviously that needs to be a little bit larger, so we're gonna go ahead and make that just a little bit larger. Let's go to here and size, and let's go to softness, and let's hit OK. All right, and now we have added that right back to our shot, and it'll update. And we can hit play again, and this will play right back to our timeline, okay? So it allows you to have a lot of granular control over things like lens flares. And since lens flares can get super overdone really fast, it's good to have that granular control. Because, you know, the next time an anamorphic lens gets very popular, you can just go ahead and recreate it and use it over and over and over again. So we have this lovely shot of this girl doing like a, I don't know, yoga pose on a beach. And what we're gonna do is we're going to apply an effect to this, but like, I don't really know what I wanna do here, and I don't really wanna go through all my effects. So I'm gonna go over here to my Sapphire tools, and you can see this little thing called Sapphire Builder. We have S Effect and S Transition. S Transition is the same thing as S Effect, except for it works on transitions. That's really difficult. All right, we're gonna hit S Effect, and we're gonna say, hey, let's load a, let's edit an effect. We can either hit load a preset, and in our preset, we'll load the preset browser. The preset browser, because this is an S Effect, has access to every single Sapphire effect. So what does S Effect do? S Effect is a little mini compositor, and it takes all of your Sapphire effects and allows you to composite them in a node tree, meaning that you have limitless options for creating new plugins. Like you're like, I want a blur glow, a glur. Do you want that? We got that. But anyway, we're just gonna jump in here, and you can actually see all of our effects are right here at our fingertips, and we can see them visually. Now, a lot of these effects are actually designed by other artists, so we steal them and package them and send them back to you. We buy them, but you know, anyway, you can do a lot of cool stuff with that. So, but you can also come in here and you can start to search. So let's say I want a blur in here. There's all kinds of blurs I can do. I can do Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Now it's a horror movie. You know, and I can start to apply that right here to my effect, okay? But here's the thing about the S Effect tools. You want to know how to use Sapphire. You want to figure out like how to use the builder and the S Effect tool. The best thing to do, find a preset you really enjoy, click on it, and then come right in here and hit Edit Effect. And inside of your Edit Effect, you're going to see that you have this composite tool. And what we have right here is actually pretty simple. It's just a mask, our source, and film damage, okay? But there are all kinds of way more complex effects in here. We can browse through them, and then we can look in the node tree and figure out what we like about it. Now here's the other cool thing. Let's say you are really good at building Sapphire effects, but nobody else on your team is. Like, you're great at digging in here and making it beautiful, but you don't want somebody to take the preset that you've made and muck it up. So what you can actually do is you can come over here and you see these checkboxes. You can check these checkboxes off, and you can say, I want you to be able to add more hairs in the dust, and I want you to be able to add a defocus so that we can animate that so that you can, you know, use this in your effect. When I hit OK, when I go back into my S Effect, it's been edited down, so those are the only parameters that you can mess with. This is great. It's really great for workflow. So, and again, you can save this preset anywhere, just absolutely anywhere in, on a shared local drive. I mean, shared or local drive, excuse me. And if it's local, obviously only you can access it, but if it's shared, everybody on your team can. And it is cross-platform, so you can design an effect in After Effects, or your graphics team can, get your graphics team to do it. And you can actually then drop those right into your edits. So that's a really, really powerful tool at your fingertips. Usually for editing, because you guys are really only doing like temp effects, and you're really only doing stuff like color corrections and beauty work, you don't really have to do crazy articulated masks very often. So Mocha allows you to do really quick garbage masks and let the tracker get you most of the way there. Things like witness protection are really good with Mocha in it. And in fact, Continuum has an excellent witness protection tool, and it has Mocha built right into it. You just draw a shape around somebody's face, boom. Are there 3 people in the shot that you need to track at the same time? Okay, shape, 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 witness protection, done. Mocha Pro it's a visual effects tool that allows you to do visual effects if you're not necessarily good at visual effects. So let's say you have a shot and you have the super lazy boom mic come into the scene. We're really good for taking that out with not a lot of work. So if you have a clean frame for like 1 frame of the shot, you can use the planar tracker to take that frame and populate it through the rest of the shot so that lazy boom mic guy doesn't have to be whipped. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.